Hello, I'm Kit, your friendly feminist cat lady spinster, and welcome to the 8th day of Tradmas. The 12 Days of Tradmas is a series looking at people in the trad or traditional movement, and for day 8, we are looking at Patriarchal Femininity, also known as Benita. Per her Instagram bio, she is posting about traditional femininity and anti-feminism. She is 24, Roman Catholic, and taken, which is not married. And Benita is based in Austria, but she wants to move to the US, and she did thoughtfully provide us reasons why. Your constitution protects you against dictatorships and authoritarian governments disguised as democracy like many European countries here. I don't know one single homeschooled person because we have basically made it impossible by law to homeschool. No enforced vaccine or mask mandates thanks to the constitution, and no COVID concentration camps like in Australia either. Homesteading is a thing in the US, and mine and my BF's goal in the future, which is also something that's basically impossible here because of all the laws and taxes. No TV license, dog license, TV tax, dog tax, air tax, etc. And the availability to use prong and e-collars on my dog if I please because I own my dog, unlike in here. What does she mean by to use prong? And why do you want to use this on your dog? Better healthcare system. Thanks to public healthcare being the norm and private healthcare being really expensive, I need to wait a month for some of my appointments and don't get proper care at doctors. I was in the emergency room with a dog bite. Or some of my flesh was hanging down my calf and I was bleeding and I had to wait for an hour with my pants soaked in my blood. What does she know about the American healthcare system? Because I'm thinking she doesn't know much. And does she think that in the US, in the emergency room, she wouldn't have to wait? She does know she'd still have to wait and she still have to pay, right? Depending on the state, you have pretty low taxes and cost of living, the choice to vaccinate my kids or not, accessibility of jobs. There are people who are unemployed for a year because of the inability to find jobs. My BF has never encountered that problem, and neither have all the other people I know from the US, while in here I know a handful of people with that problem. So as it turns out, her boyfriend is American. However, even if she wasn't with him, she'd still want to move here because of the reasons listed. But I don't know where her boyfriend is from in the US, where he's never had a problem finding a job, because as someone from the rural Midwest, which if they want to homestead, that's probably the general area they would be focusing on for homesteading. Finding a job, it would take time, and there would be years where I would be unemployed. So I have no idea where she gets this notion that it's so easy to find a job in the US. And also, finding a job that will pay enough to actually be worthwhile and to live on are two totally separate things. The ability to establish a business with basically no restrictions compared to all the burdens you face in here. I prefer the English language and American culture over German and Austrian culture or any other European country. That is really interesting to me, considering all the Americans that are like, celebrate your European heritage. Okay. She also answered a question about why she decided to become Catholic. Well, to be honest, I was considering almost every religion, even Judaism and Islam, but I eventually narrowed it down to Christianity, but because of my ex who was Protestant, I was pretty sure that I'll be Protestant as well. But it didn't sit right with me after learning about church history, so then I was considering Orthodoxy and Catholicism. It didn't sit right to her Christian church history, but Catholic history is okay. But the deeper I went into it, the more obvious it became that Catholicism is the right thing. I do believe the Catholic Church is the one that was established by Jesus and that the Orthodox Church is in schism, because when you look at the documentation of the popes we've had, we can trace it back to Peter, so it makes the most sense to me that the Catholics are right. And the reason why I'm not a Protestant is because of a lot of things, to name one, sola scriptura. She also answered why trad. I'm just loving getting all these answers to all the questions I would love to ask. I used to be a leftist feminist with the colored and all the piercings as well. I also used to be pro-choice, but I realized that lifestyle makes me very unhappy, and through my walk with Christ, I started my feminine journey. I don't know who needs to hear this, but you don't have to color your hair to be a feminist. And it's not a religion or a lifestyle, it's simply the belief that men and women should be able to choose their own paths instead of being told what their paths should be based on their sex. And now that we've got that out of the way, let's look at some of her posts. Quick checklist. Did you consent to sex? Did you know sex can lead to pregnancy? Congratulations. If you consented to sex, you also consented to pregnancy. By being able to decide whether you're going to have sex or not, you already have bodily autonomy. So does that mean that in cases of she's okay with abortion? Because I have a feeling she is not. And also saying that if you consent to sex, you consent to pregnancy is like saying if you consent to oral, you consent to PIV. If you consent to get into a car, you consent to a car accident. Consent to one thing is not consent to another. Woman, Woman, she, her. You were never meant to be independent. A strong, independent woman? No thanks. I'd rather let my husband deal with it. I wonder if she's living with her boyfriend, because the trad movement would look down on that. Male apathy towards feminism is what has allowed it to flourish. We should not be experiencing the cultural decay that we are today if men stepped up and led women in the way that they are meant to. Alright, well, you hear that, men? It's all your fault that we have feminism. What feminism brought to society? Degeneracy, homeschool restrictions, abortion on demand, homemaking stigmas, increased divorce rate. What feminism brought to government? Propaganda through education, shameless eugenics, twice the taxes, emotion-based voting, government-dependent family structure. Well, I don't live in Austria, but I have some doubts. I was a feminist, so you at some point read books and understood the history of women's oppression and decided it was cool to be subjugated under a man? Why are you denying yourself autonomy when you have supposedly learned that the tradition of male dominance is a lie? When did you start to believe a man's word is more valuable than yours? Benita's response? This is typical for our feminists. They pretend to be pro-women and fight for choice, but God forbid a woman makes a wrong choice in their eyes. Then they lose their mind. The feminist movement is absolutely useless. So I don't see how this person is losing their mind. They sound, calm and respectful to me. They are asking a good question. You say you're once a feminist, and now you think you need to be under a man. Then, yeah, why do you believe a man's word is more valuable than yours? I would really love to know that. And saying because Catholicism or because submission is just not good enough. Someone asked, do you think it's possible to be traditionally feminine and lesbian, bisexual, asexual at the same time? I'm going to ignore the asexual part because I don't think that's real. Okay, Benita. The thing is, having same-sex attraction doesn't mean you have to act on it. You can be a woman who is attracted to other women, but still decide to be with a man, have a family, etc. So yes, I do think they can still be traditionally feminine. However, when a woman decides to be with another woman instead of being with a man, she's missing out on a lot of aspects of traditional femininity, like serving her husband, letting him lead, nurturing his children, etc. Why do they say his children? Did she not give birth to them? Are they not their children? While a same-sex attracted woman can still be soft-spoken, agreeable, and so on, when she's with another woman, she isn't living a traditional life anymore. And then someone asked, what does patriarchy mean to you, and what made you decide to embrace it? Benita's response, the patriarchy is God's design. It is a natural order. God comes first, then the husband, and then the wife. I decided to embrace it once I submitted myself to God's word, but more importantly, once I realized it is a natural order. Men are stronger, more goal-driven, more aggressive, less emotional. These are all qualities that makes them a suitable leader. And yet, when a woman displays those qualities, she's shamed and told she's acting like a man. Interesting. None of this means that women are going to be discriminated against. It just means that men and women have different strengths, that once embraced, we thrive not only as individuals, but also in relationships. Feminists spread propaganda because they want to be independent yet fail to do so, either by not managing on their own or by being miserable. So a couple things here. Please do not get married because you think simply being married will make you happy. And 2, people often accuse me of being miserable, but I have never said or done anything to signify that I am miserable. It's something people put on me because I identify as a feminist. And I don't understand why. I assume it's because it suits their narrative or because they truly cannot fathom a woman who does not want to be in a relationship. But if you are someone who assumes a single woman must be miserable, please feel free to comment and tell me why you think that way. Ladies, you can't complain about him not leading you if you're always taking over and leaving no room for him to lead. But if men are natural leaders, shouldn't that just happen naturally? Ways to serve your husband. Compliment him in front of others. Hold back from pointing out a mistake. Let him have the last word. Join him in his favorite activity. Give him time to himself. Listen without interrupting. Kiss him hello and goodbye. I find it funny that she types this when she's not married. And just last week we were looking at that trad girl who's like, I'm so tired of these fake relationships, boyfriend, girlfriend, you're not married, you're not a real family. Yeah. Don't get upset when your man is talking down to you. Accept that he knows better and is just trying to teach you. A lot of women struggle with giving him the last word, even though it's crucial for harmony within the relationship. Whenever you want to argue back, really think about it. You just want to prove a point, don't you? As someone posted, I followed your advice and it ruined my relationship. The more I let him get away with, the more he disrespected me. This could be good advice for some, but you can't be like this with a man who is a big baby and throws constant tantrums. As odd as this may sound, sometimes you need to act like a mother and not like a wife. Don't let your man get away with walking all over you. Patriarchy isn't about disrespect. I wish I knew that before. All my patience for nothing because he eventually left me after I demanded him to apologize for referring to me as bitch. Men like that prey on traditional women because they know they make patient punching bags. Know your worth, girls. There is a fine balance to this. Yeah, and that would be my concern with this as well, that the more you let someone get away with, the more they'll push those boundaries until, You have to say something, but then per these women, you shouldn't say anything because you're a woman and you're not his mother and you shouldn't nag. Get up early for your husband. Prepare him some coffee and make breakfast for the children. Show him and your family how much you love them by serving them. And then someone responded, my mother used to get up early and bring my father warm coffee and the newspaper, already unwrapped, to bed every morning. While my father had his coffee, she prepared the bathroom for him. She would warm up his towel, prepare his robe, and let the hot water run a bit so it was warm and steamy. And then while he showered, she prepared his clothes. And while he got dressed, she finished getting breakfast ready, which she had started before my father woke up. My father was not a morning person, and he would not be in the mood for chit-chat. She would do all this in humble silence while he was absent in his own world. After he was done with breakfast, they would pray together, and he was off to work. Every single day. My father told me once, after she passed, that he never ever took her for granted because he knew how rare of a gem she was, and how just watching her take care of him filled his heart with love and gratitude for her. I'm going to hope he loved her for other reasons, but it really kind of creeps me out that it was watching his wife take care of him in such an extreme manner because, warm up his towel, prepare his robe. How do you even prepare a robe? Bring him the newspaper and coffee in bed and prepare his clothes? He's not a child. A man can, and in my opinion, should choose his own clothes. But yeah, it just seems really weird that she did all that and that is what filled his heart with love and gratitude. Take your man's advice. Don't always try to know better because he knows best. By accepting that, you make him feel appreciated. Let him lead by giving him the chance to. Didn't we already cover that? If you have to give a man a chance to lead, maybe he's not a leader. A submissive wife's vocabulary. I have to ask my husband, can I have my allowance, please? What do you want for dinner? So what do you want for dinner is totally fine, but no adult should request an allowance like a child. Your husband should never have to demand something twice, never refuse requests he makes. Why? Dominance isn't about shouts and abuse. Instead, it's about having a gentle yet firm hand that guides you into the right direction. So couples absolutely should, talk and grow with one another, but one should not be guiding the other like they're a child that needs to be raised. Submission isn't about powerlessness. It's about giving away that power to someone who's worthy. Never give away your power. No more girl bossing, just girl resting, girl sleeping, girl laying down, etc. Reminder, a truly strong woman is capable of finding a man she can respect enough to submit to for the rest of her life. This is reminding of classically Abby's women get their power through men. So from the sounds of it, although Benita pays lip service to being Catholic, I would say she's trad first and religious second. And I also have a feeling that she's using being a trad girlfriend? I don't know. I don't think that's actually a thing, but she's using being a potential trad wife to get out of having to, work and be independent. She made it pretty clear she does not want to be independent and have to look after herself. She would rather someone else provide for her while she cooks meals and takes care of the house and the children, which I think, I've never been a stay-at-home mom. I've never had kids, obviously, but I think that might be harder than she thinks it is, which is kind of ironic. Anyway, that is it for day 8 of Tradmas. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as possible considering the content, and I will see you tomorrow.